everyone, Random Randy here. This is part of VEDA Day 3. You should also be seeing, I'm not sure if I'm going to put it before this or after this, but you get to watch me wash dishes because as a stay-at-home mom and just a person in general, dishes are kind of part of my life, for better or for worse. And I'm kind of quiet because the boys are finally asleep and it is after 9:30. For some reason, we just can't adjust to daylight savings time this time around. I don't know what the heck is going on. I hate it. I hate it, hate it, hate it so much. I wish we'd just leave it the way that it is now. Really, I mean, yes, I understand why it happens. I read all about why we do it. Doesn't mean I agree with it. In fact, I think it's pretty horrible, to be perfectly honest. And wow, this light is actually really flattering. That's kind of cool. But I am wearing my Wake Crochet Sleigh gray shirt that I got recently. So after wearing these, the only thing that I really dislike about the fit of these is that while it is, I am shedding. While it is a relaxed fit shirt, apparently relaxed fit does not also accommodate for tall people. I am a tall people. I am 5'8", which is fairly tall for a woman, and when I'm wearing this shirt, anytime I stretch my arms even to here, it doesn't even have to be above my head. I look like a girl in a 90s music video, and the shirt goes up almost up to my rib cage. So that's kind of a bummer, but working on shrinking the mom bod to an extent. I understand I'm probably never ever going to be a size 5 again because my actual pelvis got 10 inches wider having children. And my hip bones are under maybe an inch of pudge on either side, so I don't see me ever being a size 5 again, no matter what I do. The goal is to be more toned, not to focus on the weight on the scale. And I am just rambling because it is late. It's not even really that late, but I've been averaging 4-ish hours of sleep, maybe, on a good night. And it's usually interrupted 4 hours of sleep because Killian will accidentally dump his cup of water all over himself in bed, or he'll just wake up screaming because he's having growing pains, which is a blast and a half to say the least. And what else? So I was so out of it when I was editing the vlog for the second that I totally put the wrong date in the video. The thumbnail is correct, but if you pay attention, if you look, the video, when it flashes up the little what the video is thing, it says it's the 18th. So apparently Randy was time traveling yesterday, and in approximately 3 weeks I dye a whole bunch of yarn. Well, I brought that yarn back from the future, just throwing that out there. So speaking of the yarn that I dyed, it is all worsted weight yarn, and there are 3 of them that are still really damp, so I've got them more spread out on the rack, so hopefully tomorrow morning they'll be dry so I can roll them back into pretty looking bundles of yarn and then show them all to you. But I'm going to show you the ones that are done now, and apparently make a lot of noise sliding things around in the process. Hello kitty, please stay down. So these are the 2 that I actually showed in the time-lapse yarn dyeing video. I'm calling these 2 Lonely and Gorgeous, which is the name of a song which was the opening theme song for an anime and manga. Well, anime I used to watch and manga that I read when I was a teenager. I actually have the whole series on DVD. I think it was only 3 DVDs. It was one of those horrendously short series that at the end of it has a really, really, really bad, ugly cry, like, oh, George, why? So if you ever want to delve into the anime and song that inspired this absolutely lovely colorway, it is called Paradise Kiss. I do not recall who originally wrote it, but it had a song by Tommy February 6th, which is one of the many alter performance personas of Tomoko Kawase, who is a J-pop star. And I'm really, really pleased with the way this came out. So it has just this slight, it almost looks kind of tea stained in the parts that would have just been bare before. See if you can see it better in there. Yeah, there we go. So this is how it actually turned out. But that funky, almost yellow looking dye that was in that video, that's what this was. Was for this, to give it this kind of pretty vintage look. So there's those 2. These were done first, so they're obviously dry before some of the ones that I finished up at like 10:30 last night. These 2 I'm calling Paradise Kiss after the manga, potentially Parakiss since that was the name of the fashion company that some of the characters operated in. And it is very similar. It has the same, Apparently Nurgle is going insane. Has the same lavender. It has this greenish spruce color. It has some turquoise, and it is overall more of a gray base. Just to give you a comparison so you can really see the difference here. Because just holding it up, it doesn't look that gray, but it's gray. And there are some spots that are speckled, and there are a few spots that are striped. There's 2 of those. This is the leftover result of the dye stock that I had left from that, with a little bit added in. Not sure what I'm going to call this one, but this is purple overall with blues and greens throughout it. It's just kind of a mishmash. Lucky dip, I think, is what most of the big indie dyers call something like this. There's that one. And I only have one of these done because the other ones are still... Whoa, the color balance went really weird. Hi, dog. I only have one of these because the other one is still drying. Oh, there it goes. It's adjusting now. So this, I do not know what to call this one yet either, but this one, oh, this one has a super chartreuse green in it, and some turquoise, and some of the darker spruce green. All of these together, if I actually had the last one, but it's entirely way too wet to show you, but all of these together kind of make me think ocean, sea, mermaids. I don't know. So yeah, lots of pretty yarn. Lots and lots of pretty yarn. It is very soft. Super, super soft. And this is the Felici worsted Knit Picks Bear base. I think it's 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon. But it's worsted, and I want to say there's 200 and some yards per hank. So I got 10 of those all dyed in one day, so I have 10 left. And I don't know if I want to put these up in my Etsy shop and say that I can have a potential total of 4 of each of them, or if I want to do something different with the other 10. All depends on how much people want worsted weight indie dyed yarn, I guess. I know everybody's all about pretty sock yarn, but I'd kind of like to work with something that's a little bit thicker and doesn't take forever, you know? I guess that's just me. Ramble, ramble, ramble. Can you tell that I've been cooped up in the house with 2 sick kids and no adult contact for a couple of days? Because I can tell. Anyway, so the one other shop-ish thing that I wanted to talk about, I guess, is, if I can get the bag open. Why do I have a dog cowering in here with me? Hello, Renegade. The other thing that I have is this 50-yard spool of twill ribbon. And this is just a fabric ribbon. It is 100% cotton, and I want to make tags for some of my products with these. I already have iron-on transfer paper, and I've watched a few tutorials on how people do theirs with the heat transfer paper, and then putting the residue from wax paper over top of it after you print it. So, more Photoshop work must be done to adapt my logo to only have maybe 2 colors and shrink it down enough to fit it on a 3/4 inch piece of ribbon. So that'll be fun. Something I'm hoping to have done and tested by the end of the week. Potentially by time for Yarn Talk on Thursday. Maybe. We shall see. And for everybody who's been commenting on the yarn dyeing video, the process of dyeing yarn really isn't super complicated. Having the time and the space, and the most key factor in Hand painting yarn, in my opinion, is making sure that your heat is right, because if you don't have proper temperature, then the dyes aren't going to strike properly. They're not going to be as vibrant. If you haven't squeezed enough water out of your skeins when you go to start dyeing, all of the dye is going to hit it and just flood right off, which I suppose could be cool if you were going for a really muted look. But if you want the really vibrant, bright pops of color, gotta get your temperatures right. There is a book that I have that talks about all of those things, and it shows you a bunch of the different ways of dyeing yarn. It touches on everything. It doesn't really go into depth about much, but it talks about a color grid or having a color wheel so that you can put colors together that look really good together. Sometimes even colors that you wouldn't think would look good together, but because they're on opposite sides of a color wheel, or they're directly on either side of it next to it, they tend to mesh pretty well. And it is, do I have it right at hand? I do not, but it is called Hand Dyeing Yarn and Fleece, and I'll link it down below the video in case anybody's interested in checking it out. I think they have a Kindle version of it too that's cheaper than the physical book, which is a spiral bound, which is nice because you can open it up and it lays flat. But it also talks about dip dyeing and over dyeing, dyeing silk, dyeing roving, the difference between that and dyeing pre-spun yarn. It's pretty cool. It's got a lot of interesting information in it. And I think that I have rambled and rambled about yarn long enough. So I am going to cut this here so I can get it edited so it will go up in the morning on the day of the 3rd, because I'm ahead of the game and I'm keeping it that way. So everything's occurring and being recorded the day before it needs to go up, rather than it being 10 o'clock at night and me talking for 2 seconds and then going, oh crap, I need to get this uploaded before midnight or I am a failure. Because that's how I feel about it. I'm so harsh on myself. It is ridiculous. But anyway, I'm still rambling. Randy, shh. So I am going to get off here and go work on the shrug, which is a cocoon like this one that I'm wearing. This is the movie night cocoon cardi, I believe it's called. But it's a super simple pattern. Apparently people are displeased with some of the things that the designer has written about making this pattern, which really isn't a difficult pattern. And I don't think that I'd be able to sell one of these for $80, even if I did put that much time into it. Much less $200, like that, no. If you can tell me where you live that somebody would buy this, which is just a giant granny square that's seamed up the sides and has an edge band around it, for $200, let me know. I need to look into real estate there and move there so that I can just make these and sell them, because I could pay for a house inside of, if I were to start working now, inside of 6 months, I would have enough of these that I would have enough for a down payment on a house. Just throwing that out there. Could probably make one a week. So yeah, that would be pretty awesome. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed just listening to me kind of ramble and rant and talk about fibery stuff. So I will catch all of you tomorrow for another vlog. I am thinking maybe talking about authorly stuff on Wednesday. Make it wordy Wednesday. We'll see. I had intentions to do that last time around, and people totally lost their minds and went bananas when I posted just a few reading videos, so I'm not sure. We shall see. But then again, I have people dislike pretty much anything that's not a yarn talk. Not quite sure why that is. Looking at you, serial dislikers. I see you. Anyway, I'm still rambling. Oh my god. Oh. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.